Whatever.
And we are live. Support for the Calcio Connection podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Manscaped. I'm so happy to welcome these guys on board. Oh, and Jerry has the lawnmower 3.0 right there. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming hygiene, as we've come to find out. Manscaped is taking over the world, and they're now available, guys, in all of Europe, all of Canada, as Jerry can attest to, Australia, where we have a ton of listeners, and New Zealand, where we have listeners as well. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. So join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. I've known about Manscaped for years down here in the United States of America, and this is the next great American export. Europe and Australia is about to get a lot less hairy. That's right, folks. If you live in the EU, you can now purchase Manscaped products. If you live there, you've gone years without using the right tools for the job. And I'm going to hear Jerry's story in a minute because he just got done using his Manscaped. Jerry, my testimonial, I've been telling people about this for years. There was a time in my life, 10, 11 years ago, okay? This is before I had any idea that Manscaped existed. They may not have even been around at that point, all right? And I had what I refer to as an incident, okay? This is before I even met my wife, okay? I'm preparing myself for what was determined to be a really hot date that evening with, let's call it a five-star prospect, like an 80 million euro value player, okay? And so I decided, you know what, it might be a good idea to trim the hedges a little bit. The problem was, I didn't know about Manscaped. I didn't know about the skin-safe technology. So I attempted to use the same trimmer that I use on my face, on my beard, on the peninsula south of the equator. The result was a lot of blood, some screaming, some pain, and I learned a valuable lesson that day. That area down there, Jerry, is not the same. You can't just use the facial trimmer down there and expect to get the job done. It's you're taking a huge risk, man.
You kill me, man. I'm just happy I found out that there's something for our balls. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know Manscaped existed until maybe, 3 weeks ago when they reached out to us.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that they had an actual shaver to clean your balls. Like, this is the best thing since Nutella, basically. That's all I can say, man, because without the Manscaped, it's hard to have a free life down there, eh? That's all I can say.
Is. And hold on, I can add, you can see the banner down there. Manscaped is now the member of the family here. Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent literally 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. They have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. Show the people again, Jerry. And he's even got the cologne and the ointment. The Lawnmower 3.0 is out there. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents like the one that I had, thanks to advanced skin safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. Guys, when I tell you this is premium, I mean absolute premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. I'm hairy, but I'm not 90 minutes hairy. But it's nice to know you have. Jerry might be 90 minutes hairy. It's nice to know you have that option. The waterproof technology allows you to groom in the shower. And one of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. And they've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. I don't know if my car has a motor that goes 7,000 RPM. And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because the intelligently designed stand is convenient charging dock powered by USB. So if you're listening to this right now, you've heard about and seen these amazing products. If you're listening to this right now, you want to experience it firsthand, you can get 20% off plus free shipping. You know, those who are watching this on YouTube can see the code below, but I'm going to say it for all the audio listeners. Get 20% off plus free shipping. When you go to manscaped.com at the checkout, they're going to ask you if you have a promo code. You do have a promo code, and it's Calcio. CALCIO is our show's promo code. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Calcio, CALCIO, at manscaped.com. And Jerry, show the people that the cologne you're rocking there.
Don't forget, now your wife, your girlfriend, your mistress can go down on you with a good scent. That's all I can say is that it no longer smells bad when you have the toner on. you'll become a winner with this thing on you. That's all I could tell you. No longer does it smell like that BO that you guys come back from hockey or soccer, and you're like, what the hell, man? You made me go down on that thing after a nice freaking game or whatever. No. This, you need the toner on your Baglionis, whatever you want to call them, whatever if you have a name for them, but you need a scent. Your girl needs a scent, and she'll feel much better.
Oh, man. Fantastic. So get 20% off and free shipping with our code CALCIO, CALCIO, at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Hello and welcome in to another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. Alex Donno, alongside my co-host Jerry Mancini, going to bring in a good panel for today. And really for the second straight episode, we are surrounding Jerry with Interisti. Jerry has become an Interista, I think, and I've kind of become a Laziale because I had a little wager on Lazio +1.5 goal against Atalanta today, and they pulled through with a 3-1 victory. So let's introduce first a first-time guest on this platform. This guy does a fantastic job, and like Jerry, he's a fellow Canadian. Natale Frangione joins the show. Natale, welcome to the Calcio Connection, making the debut. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Especially better now that Inter got the dub yesterday. A stress-free dub, I should say. I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you for having me on today, guys.
Yeah, the stress-free dub was absolutely key. Let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend. This guy is, I know that some of you kids out there, you watch your Jake Pauls and your Logan Paul. Those people disgust me. My number one YouTuber is Uncle Sharma. This guy's channel is taking over the world. Nobody does the better Inter previews and Inter-match reviews than Zio Sharma, who's wearing the lovely zigzag kit. Uncle Sharma, how you doing, sir?
Yo, Manscaped FC, Lautaro Martinez Athletic, even Perisic United, we out here, man. Thank you for that lovely intro, bro.
Absolutely. And a guy that lately we can't even get rid of. He's been more a part of this pod than Jerry and I have, and we love him. Mario Gagliano is back with us for another round. Mario, how you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas? How you liking that Eriksen performance?
And that's why we had to have you back, okay? Because and I'm wondering, and Mario, I'll let you weigh in on this first because you have never wavered from your belief in Christian Eriksen. I've been a flip-flopper, okay? And it's not because I've ever thought Eriksen is a bad player. I just for a long time, I haven't thought Eriksen is necessarily a great fit in Serie A and certainly not a great fit with Conte and with Conte's formation. However, out of necessity, I think Conte may have found a role where Eriksen can excel, and that's as the deep line playmaker in the midfield. And Mario, it reminds me a little bit of, and I'm not comparing the players directly, although they may be now kind of sharing time in a similar role, but it reminds me a bit of 3 seasons ago when one Marcelo Brozovic was completely out of favor with Luciano Spalletti. He was on his way to Sevilla in the January transfer window, was basically about to step on the plane, and Spalletti blocked the transfer because there was no replacement. And even though Brozovic wasn't getting on so well at Inter, Spalletti said, you can't just take this guy away from my squad. We need him here. And so after that failed loan, after that failed transfer, Spalletti ends up relaunching Brozovic as the regista, as the deep line playmaker, and he's been excellent in that role ever since. Do you think that this could end up being Brozovic 2.0, and that now Christian Eriksen is going to find a similar role under Conte, and we'll see the career revive here at Inter?
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. He's too good of a player to not have on the field. They paid about 20 million, the same as Muriqi, who, Jerry wants a refund for still. But I think that he's going to be like a Pirlo-esque kind of player because people forget that before Pirlo became the defensive mid-regista that he is widely known for, he was an attacking midfielder who couldn't play in a Milan midfielder in that midfield anymore because it just wasn't going to work out. He was dropped to I believe, as a center midfielder and then eventually as a defensive midfielder under Ancelotti. And then instead of playing higher up, he was making all the plays from deeper in the midfield. Same same style of play, just deeper. And that's exactly what Conte is trying to do with the fuck's his name? Eriksen. That Spalletti did for
Wow.
Brozovic, and it's you have to have this guy in the field. He's too smart. He reads the game better than anybody else on the field. It's evident. Like Brozovic, as good as he's been way too inconsistent. And in a position where you need to be good 100% of the time, Brozovic gives you 70 or 80% of the time. And when he's good, he's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to think that I'm slandering him. He's just inconsistent. And a bad day hurts for himself and especially for Inter at the end of the day. If Eriksen comes in every game, he's touching the ball 150 times, completing 95% of the passes, whatever it is, 90%, and creating chances left and right from the dead ball, from crosses. We saw him put it on a platter for Hakimi a couple times. He's deadly from anywhere on the field, dead ball or not. He's going to make things happen. Even when he's on for 5-10 minutes, you see that he has a couple moments where he puts a through ball in, where maybe it's not the best ball, but the idea is there. He splits a defender, a bad touch is taken, whatever the case is. But this guy, he's too big to fail. Like before he came to Inter, I was saying he's going to end up in Barcelona. In my eyes, he fit there perfectly. He was like an attacking, creative player, kind of free flowing, creative things, and I was like, he's going to end up there. He's going to win so much. But I'm glad we have him, and he can be such an important player for this team, man. I can't even tell you guys that I'm excited for what Conte has in store for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was Eriksen was instrumental in Inter's 4-0 win over Benevento. You know, I know that he doesn't technically show up on the score sheet because the first goal was an own goal, but it was his very, very dangerous ball on that free kick that created that goal. And for me, and I want to bring Nat in on this because he and I talk a lot behind the scenes about Eriksen, and I saw his ears perk up when, you know, Mario mentioned Pirlo. I mean, for first thing, Nat, I'll let you join in on that, but to me, I thought for Eriksen scoring that free kick goal that he did against Milan in the derby midweek, that did a lot for his confidence, I think. And we know how important confidence can be for players, especially like Eriksen, who's, you know, been in a funk here going back to last season. Like we're talking over 6 months of just being in a funk and feeling like he's outside the project. So I thought scoring that massive game-winning goal against Milan really put a pep in his step for the Benevento game.
Well, honestly, I'm going to just reiterate what Mario has been saying. It was a huge goal, not just for his confidence, just for just the way his life's been going. I think basically this whole year for him, and I think about 6 months prior to that at Tottenham, he was struggling a lot at Tottenham. He wasn't playing the way that we all know how Eriksen could play, and that's why he ended up going to Inter, because prior to that, Real Madrid was looking at him, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, all the big clubs in the world. They were all obsessed with Christian Eriksen. And then something happened. He wasn't happy at Tottenham anymore, and he sort of lost his step. And then fast forward a year, basically, you know, he starts off. He had a good couple of games when the restart occurred. You know, games that come to mind are the Napoli Coppa Italia game where he had that beautiful cross that went into the net, untouchable. The Sampdoria game where we had a couple of nice assists. Now, those are the games where we started to realize, you know, we actually, you know, he took his time to adapt to Serie A, to Italy. You know, maybe he's learning the language now. We got something on our hands, and then it all sort of went south after that. He started to not get played a lot, and you could tell. I think it's about 50-50 between him and Conte. You could tell Eriksen, he's not as aggressive, but he was never as aggressive, even at Tottenham. Barella's more aggressive, and that's what Conte wants. Conte desires that grinta in all his players, and I could see that. But at the same time, Eriksen's way too good to be left on the bench. His quality, it makes up for his lack of grinta, his lack of defensive awareness, his defensive qualities. So I think this role is perfect for him, because once upon a time when Conte took the job at Juventus, he wasn't as happy that Pirlo was in his squad at first. He realized, because the players that Conte wants were Arturo Vidal, he had Marquisio, players that were willing to die for the badge. And then he found out, and Conte finally used his brain and found out, oh, look at this. We have Andrea Pirlo here. It's going to work out perfectly. And then at Chelsea, Cesc Fabregas took about 3 or 4 months for him to get into the lineup. And then, bam, it worked out. He played as that deep line Regista. And it's just funny how things work out. Brozovic is on those yellow cards, one yellow card away from being suspended. Eriksen comes in. It's like a story, the way I look at it. And I just want to read some of Eriksen's stats from the Benevento game here. And it's 90 minutes played, 133 touches, 100 accurate passes, 90.1% pass accuracy, 7 balls recovered, 2 interceptions, 1 ground duel won, 100% dribble succeeded, 9 out of 14 accurate long balls, 2 big chances created, and 1 woodwork hit. So it was a phenomenal game. It was this coming out party. And I think each game that he plays at Regista, he's improving every game. The Fiorentina game, you saw a lot that he was not comfortable in it. And then, as you can see, he's been working all week at Appiano Gentile, the training ground. And Conte's been saying in his press conferences, we are working with Christian Eriksen to develop him, and clearly it's working out. So we'll see what happens. I don't think he's ready to play in the big games yet. I think he needs a couple more of those small Udinese games, those Benevento games, those Bologna games, just to develop, and then maybe we could see him in a Lazio game or a derby or something like that. But no, I'm excited. He's going to be a very pivotal role in Inter's chance of winning the Scudetto, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this panel today, I was about to bring in Sharma. He may be buffering a little bit. This panel today is basically Eriksen FC because I know Nat has believed in Eriksen all along. Mario, I mean, he's had Eriksen as his Twitter bio. And Jerry, you as well. I know you watched the game yesterday from start to finish, Inter over Benevento. And you were very taken by Eriksen's performance. Like this didn't look like a guy who deserves to be outside the project, right? I mean, a couple of months ago, this is the same player that Antonio Conte decided it's a good idea to bring him on in the 92nd minute and bench him for entire matches, a guy who's not even worth playing time. Now, the situation has changed a little bit since they tried to move him, in the January transfer window, but you needed a team to take on his wages, his high wages over, I think, 7.5 million euros, and no one was willing to do that. So it's become a marriage of convenience, right? Because that Conte, for lack of a better term, is quote unquote stuck with Eriksen at least until the end of the season. So you might as well make the best of it. What did you think, Jerry, of that performance?
I thought he was good, and if you just give this guy some confidence and the ability just to play his game, he'll give you 110%. And was Conte managing it right? Who knows what's going on in the dressing room and closed doors? Maybe there was a mutiny. Maybe the two weren't getting eye to eye. Like, we don't know the issues that have stemmed why Christian Eriksen hasn't been on the field as regularly as Inter fans would like to see. And I think that has to be taken into consideration because, Conte is not putting him on the field. And I know you have a great player on the bench, but us as fans, we don't know the full story. We only see what media wants us to hear, makes us want to believe. And I stand behind Conte. I think that he will use him. He won't admit to his mistakes and say, I was wrong. I should have started Eriksen from the beginning. No, he's going to slide him into the squad now, and he's going to make it look like he was never the issue. Eriksen was never the issue. These two are going to gel together now. He's going to allow him to play his game, and you see how important he is in that midfield. I personally like him in that role where Brozovic, I agree with Mario. He's so inconsistent this year where he looks good in some games, like lights out, and then he looks poor in some other games. And he makes like these ill-advised mistakes and these poor decisions that you normally don't see from Brozovic. And I'm just curious, and I'm an advocate about this, and I say with Lazio a lot. Is he playing too many minutes, Brozovic, now to the point where it's caught up and he can't play to the level that many know he can play at? I don't know offhand, how many minutes he's played in total, but let's take this into consideration. Inter hasn't had the advantage yet of not being in Champions League or Europa League. That hasn't taken into consideration yet. So, in all fairness, Inter has been on the same level as the other top 5-6 teams who have been in Europa League or Champions League, where they had to play in midweek. They had to play short rest. And I don't think Brozovic wasn't getting a proper rotation that may helped his game much greatly, like in giving him the form that would have helped him. So now you got 2 more weeks of Coppa Italia where they're playing midweek, and I want to see, will Inter rotate their squad? Will they use Eriksen properly in order to balance that midfield and avoid injury? Because it's still 2 games coming up and on short rest. I don't care if you're playing 3 days on, 3 days off. You need to use your players efficiently and effectively. And Eriksen needs to be used in these next 4 games. And if he's not, then Conte, it's a big mistake by Conte, I think. I'm a Gagliardini fan, but
You're the one.
I like him because I like his work ethic. And if he's used right, and I think he's more better suited as a shutdown role. When you have a 2-1, a 3-1 lead, he's the kind of guy who will win the ball for you and retrieve it and just give it off to somebody. I agree. Yeah. I think his final product, yeah, I agree. It's not there. That's not what I don't believe that's what Conte wants to use him as. He's not there to score goals. He's there just to win battles in the midfield, just to limit the opposition from having any chances. And I like a guy like Gagliardini who can give you something different compared to like Eriksen or even Brozovic or Barella, where you just want that hardworking player and that can offer something maybe different. But I look at things differently. I know that you guys want the whole complete package of Gagliardini giving you goals, giving you plays, giving you this, giving you that. But at the end of the day, you utilized your players to what they can give you. And to me, if that's what Gagliardini gives you.
I want to give Uncle Sharma the last word here on Christian Eriksen. How much of a role do you see him playing for the rest of the year? Like Dieter even asked if Eriksen should start until the end of the season if he keeps playing like this. I mean, that to me that's just not going to happen out of a rotation. But I mean, Sharma, how big of a role do you think Eriksen's going to play from this point forward?
Yeah, I'm with you. We're all really happy for Eriksen, man. Like on a personal, human level, that he's getting some minutes. He's getting got that goal you just saw in his celebration against Milan, and then even yesterday, his body language looks different. Everyone's looking for him now. His teammates in the past have pointed to the fact that it looks like sometimes the teammates are not even looking for him even when he's available. But yesterday, most balls touched, and I think it was like the joint most balls touched by an Inter player the whole season. So everyone's looking for him now. He's becoming the go-to guy. But Brozovic is the starting player, no doubt, in that position. And I think he's gonna be rotated, against these smaller teams. But you never know. As we said with Brozovic, with this possible suspension coming in, you never know. He could play his way into the starting 11. But for me now, till the end of the season, he's going to be the second fiddle to Brozovic. But that's much better position than he has been in the last year or so. So this is much more improved, and it will help to keep his value at least. It won't devalue him by rotting him on the bench at least.
Did you have something to add, Nat?
Well, I just wanted to just add on to what Uncle Sharma was saying there. Conte, the difference between Brozovic and Eriksen is Eriksen's more qualitative. He's more of a quality player, and Brozovic is more quantitative. So Brozovic will run up and down the pitch for you for 90 minutes. Eriksen will give you dime passes for 90 minutes. That's what the difference is, and I think that's what Conte is looking for. I think now if I'm Antonio Conte, I could see that, if Inter's down 1-0 to a Milan or a Juventus or any of the big sides, he could say, Brozovic, your first half was not up to par. Eriksen, get warmed up. Now that's an option for him, and we'll see what happens though. But yeah, I'm just going to reiterate what Uncle Sharma was saying. He's so much more confident. You could tell, and he was very down in this past year, and you could tell he sort of he shaved his head to sort of make himself as Wesley Sneijder there 2.0 to sort of get the fans on. But we'll see what happens with him.
One more thing before we move on, because Eriksen also, to go along with all his finesse and his passing skills and all that, he's outworked everyone. He covers the most distance on the team in the game, essentially, since in all his starts, pretty much. Given when he doesn't play the full 90, but he covered 13 kilometers yesterday, which was about a kilometer more than the next person, maybe 2. He moves, and I feel like that's a very underestimated trait from him, because even at Tottenham, he outworked everyone on the field. And I don't want his work rate to be pushed aside or anything, because it has to be known that he moves in the regista role, where usually you see the players like Pirlo, where they stand around, they don't do as much defensively, they start working. But if you watch him play, he's in and out of the channels and the lanes, the passing lanes, left and right. The ball goes left, he waits, he moves. The ball goes right, he waits, he moves. There was a point in the 85th minute, the ball went from between the back three for about 2 minutes, and the guy did not stop moving. He was in and out of the passing lanes, left and right. And I'm just saying, give it to him, create the attack, start the attack, give it to him. But it goes Ranocchia, Skriniar, De Vrij, whoever the fuck it was. They just go back and forth, and he's just nonstop finding the open lane left and right. And I don't want his work rate to be slandered by anybody.
Yeah, it's that running style. Everyone. When it's these creative players, a lot of times, he doesn't have this powerful running style, so people just think that he's not a hard worker. But if you just watch him throughout the whole match, you'll see that he's a hard worker. Maybe he doesn't put that grinta in, but he runs.
I agree 100% with you guys.
And there's one more player I want to get into Inter-wise, and then I want to move on to Jerry's Lazio, because that was a splendid performance today against Atalanta. Inter's performance against Benevento, it wasn't a classic type of performance. It wasn't a brilliant performance, but it was a dominant performance. And most importantly, it was a stress-free performance. Handanovic didn't even face one shot on goal in that match, which, he could have pitched a tent back there and watched Netflix for about an hour and a half. It was a really stress-free day for him. Inter had a 1-0 lead going into halftime. I was a little bit annoyed though at halftime, because it really should have been 2-0 or 3-0, because Lautaro Martinez continued to miss. I'm not going to say sitters. He's missed sitters this year, but he missed a couple of scoring chances. But then I give Lautaro a ton of credit, because he breaks his goal drought in the second half with a very classy finish. Now, with Lautaro, guys, overall, this guy isn't completely lost on the pitch. He's not lazy. He's making a lot of great runs, right? And he's doing good things on the ball. It's just been, to me, the final product that has been lacking, and he's been struggling with his finishes lately. So to see him get a second half goal on a nice finish, I've got to ask, did Lautaro Martinez get his groove back? And could this be a sign of positive things to come? And I'm going to start with Uncle Sharma on this one, because I know that you do a ton of breakdown on Lautaro and really everyone on this Inter. What do you make of his struggles to find the back of the net lately? And do you think scoring in that second half could be a confidence builder for him?
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those situations where everyone just seems to be piling onto him now. I listened to your podcast last week, and you were all like just lunging everyone's onto Lautaro. But when you look at the stats, he's improved already from last season, because people are saying he's not improved from last season. I think wait, let me just pull him up. Serie A 18-19, he had 13 starts, 6 goals. Last year, 29 starts, 14 goals and 3 assists. And this year, he's already got 4 assists and 10 goals in 16 starts. So he's already, well on his way to matching and beating his tally from last year. Obviously, he was scoring more in the Champions League last year, which was probably why, everyone was more impressed with him, because he was scoring on those European nights. But he works so hard off the ball. It's hard to ask him to be composed after he's chased about 50 guys out for 60, 70 yards. His stats show that he's the one who's won the ball the most in the final third. I saw that Who Scored stats, and yesterday he added on to that. He had 21, and probably after yesterday's game he was on 22, 23 recoveries in the opposition third. So either you ask him not to work as hard off the ball so he can be a bit more composed and have a bit more, time and the calmness on the ball when he's shooting, or you just kind of hope that he gets better with time. And he's only 23. When you look at the guys at the top, like Ibrahimovic, top scorer in the league. Sorry, guys, someone keeps trying to call me. Can you still hear me?
The tax collector.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lautaro's calling him.
No,
Lautaro's like, someone's defending me finally. No, it's just saying, look at the strikers at the top. You got like Ibrahimovic. He's not asked to do hardly any work at the top. For Duvan Zapata, Muriel, those two guys, they alternate between each other. They're not asked to work as hard as the other guys. Immobile is one that works hard and still finishes, but when you look at it, the guy just works so hard off the ball. He takes so much load off Lukaku. So I think it's been a bit exaggerated, the criticism on him, but it is deserved. Sometimes he definitely needs to do better. There has been some bad sitters this season, but I think it's been a little bit undeserved, some of it.
Well, I want to get Jerry to weigh in on this one, and I think Sharma gave an unbelievable summary of why I need to relax a little bit when I start to get angry about Lautaro. Jerry has been on this roller coaster with me, and we're in a couple of group chats together, and I'm cursing out every time Lautaro misses a scoring chance. I mean, Jerry, what did you think of his performance yesterday, his goal, and do you think he can get on a streak here where he's scoring goals more regularly again? Because he's a streaky player when it comes to his scoring. When it comes to his work rate, the guy's consistent, but when it comes to finishing, he's streaky.
I think the problem is, and Sharma, he provides a good point here, that you got a guy who works hard for the ball. He draws a lot of players towards him, and he does a lot of intangibles on the pitch. But at the end of the day, when you're a striker, what is your number one goal? You're to score goals, and the problem is, when he doesn't score goals, it takes away everything he does on the pitch. It doesn't matter. It's even with Immobile. Like last year, I remember Immobile went on a run where he wasn't scoring goals and fans were calling him out, and he was still helping the team in other ways, just like Lautaro is showing right now. But the problem is, when you are the guy who has to score goals, people don't care what you did on the pitch. They don't care about your recovery balls. They don't care that you drew two people towards you, because look how reactionary people are. It's just like Italy and Immobile. He does other things probably right, but because he doesn't score goals, people forget, oh, it doesn't matter. He stinks. He's this, he's that. And at the end of the day, if he's not scoring goals, Martinez, his value drops. And it's not fair to say. I think it's very wrong to criticize, because I do believe that yesterday Lautaro Martinez had a good game, worked really hard, won a lot of challenges, recovered a lot of balls. I think his physicality on one-on-one challenges, I think, is pretty impressive, and I think he can make a good tackle too. But before he scores that goal, I think it was minutes before, he could have scored a first one before that, and he doesn't bury it.
He could have scored 4.
Yeah. Well, I lost count, but
easy to count with that performance.
But that's the problem. How he has to score those. You are the striker. I understand you allow Romelu Lukaku to play his game better, easier, but that's not what you're there for. You're there to score goals. And I love the stats of how he's been able to produce on other aspects and what he can do and this and that, but he needs to score goals, and people don't care what he does to bring to the table. It's just like you talk about Eriksen. Eriksen is doing his game, and that's why he's effective. Compared to Lautaro, he's not doing what Eriksen is doing. He's doing the whole broader picture. So at the end of the day, he scored the goal. That's the most important thing. And I think this can start a streak for him, because look at Vedat Mariki. And it's a prime example. He scored a goal. No, seriously, he scored a goal.
Oh, I agree.
Look how confident he looks now. The guy has scored in 3 of the past 4 matches in all competition. Like, and he comes off the bench. Yeah, okay, it was an easy goal to score today. But regardless, he did what he had
to make the run.
He's in the right position. He's doing the run. I just think Lautaro Martinez needs to start scoring more. Like, I agree with Sharma, like what you're saying, but when you're a goal scorer, and you always say about Mariki, you always call it Mariki, where's the goals? Where's the goals? Where's the goals? Just like Martinez, Mariki's in this, they're both in the same position. Where are the goals? So when you're a striker, you got to find the back of the net. Easy, hard, you got to get it right.
Yeah, but I think it's just everything's just always focused on Lautaro. But when Lukaku misses chances, it seems like it's not.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it shouldn't be like thinking about
No,
it.
you're right. That's true. If you're gonna talk like that part, that's absolutely true. You can't be blind to say, oh, Lautaro is shit. He didn't score, and then Lukaku doesn't score. It's like, and that's exactly how I feel about Zlatan Ibrahimovic when I hear that. Oh, he does 9 things right and 1 thing wrong, but the 1 thing wrong can be replaced because he does 9 things right. It's like, no, fuck you, man. What the fuck is that stupid rule? That's the stupidest rule. I'm sorry.
This is where
rule. It's a dumb rule.
This is where I miss Icardi the most. There, he's very decisive.
Oh, I was just about to compare them. Oh man.
Well,
I mean, aside from the fact that with that bum on, and he was at least a great finisher, but it's like having 10 men on the field right up until the point he scores.
See,
that's the problem. What else is he doing?
The thing with Lautaro and Icardi was that Lautaro, you get the hard work, you get the whole overall 90 minutes of a good player, but you miss the effective goals that Icardi would bring, where you have nothing. He provided 0 for 90 minutes, and then he scores a goal, and various interwebsites would give him a 7, an 8 rating, when in reality he literally did nothing. I'm not going to name any names because they suck at their ratings, but it's you have these two complete opposites where Lautaro, he works as hard as anybody can ask him to. Yesterday, he won a ball in midfield, a slide tackle, saved the ball from going out, dribbled the ball 40 yards to the top of the 18, and then took a shot. Like, that's that sums up Lautaro in a nutshell. He'll do everything except score. But then he comes and he scores a freaking bombazo out of nowhere and then wins the ball to give Lukaku his first goal. Like, all the guy needs to do is score goals not even on a consistent basis. Just, he has 10 goals now. In my eyes, he should have 20. It's just underwhelming. The statistics don't back up how good he should be doing. And for me, that's what really bothers me, because it was the same thing for Icardi. I hated him because he could have been such a better player for Inter, but he just chose to do nothing. And that was the most frustrating thing. He scores 30 goals, but they're in 18 games. The other 18 games, literally half the season, he did nothing. Like, it just doesn't. We can't win with our strikers. Like Lukaku, he works hard. He's a big presence. He's important to have on the field. Yes, he misses a lot of goals, but he scores them. He's got 14 goals now. And it's on a consistent basis where he's scoring game after game after game. Sure, he's allowed to miss a couple of games, but Lautaro will score 2 goals this game, wait 6 games, score another 3 goals, wait another 8 games, score another 4 goals, and then 16 goals. But it's in bunches. That's the problem. It's not goal, good performance, bad performance, but then scores 2 to make up for it. It's too streaky, and I guess the streaks work off of each other, where he's good when Lukaku's not as good, and Lukaku's good when Lautaro's missing. That's the way I'm looking at it, sort of. And I hate I just hate how Lautaro misses. It's just frustrating to watch.
Just remember, if it wasn't for Conte, who his first decision was get Icardi out, bring Lukaku in. So for a guy who gets shit on so much, was probably one of the best decisions made.
And Inter's defense, it was more Beppe Marotta's decision.
Yeah,
to kick Icardi and that.
Right, but he still asked for the right player to replace.
You're right. Conte certainly wanted Lukaku. That's the guy he wanted.
Yes, 100%. But it wasn't all. It was more Beppe Marotta to kick out, because Conte's first season, his first preseason, he actually wanted Nainggolan to stay, but Beppe Marotta and the hierarchy of Inter decided to kick all of them out due to the drama and the sideshow that they caused in the locker room. But no, Lautaro and Lukaku, they provide movement which other strikers in Europe cannot provide. So I don't want to say it makes up for their indecisiveness in front of net, but it also, each match, they're always involved. It's not that they will, like, you see some target men in Europe that disappear throughout the whole match. And Lautaro and Lukaku, they're always involved in the play, yet they may not score every game. But as long as Inter are winning and that they're playing well and they're getting involved, then I guess as fans we can't complain. Now we'd love to see them score in the big matches against Milan and Juventus and Lazio and all those big matches. But sometimes you can't always ask for it all, right? They're not Ronaldo or Kaká out here. But no, it's been a joy to watch them the whole season, and as long as they keep putting the effort in, keep listening to Conte, and just keep putting in the work, I think we will be they'll be a pretty successful duo.
Here's a really tough question, a good question that Dieter asks. Should Inter use their strongest lineup against Juventus? It's for what it's worth, it's on Tuesday, not Wednesday. Coppa Italia, first leg of the semifinal. There's pros and cons to that. If you ask using the strongest lineup, I mean, you like to set the tone in the first leg. It's a two-legged tie. You get the home game for the first leg, and it's always good for the confidence of your squad to try and beat Juventus. I mean, I was going to say a couple weeks ago, great for confidence in beating Juventus, but they followed it up with the Udinese performance. So who the hell knows? I still think it's important to beat Juventus. But on the other hand, we know that the competition that Inter really needs to prioritize from here on out is the Serie A more so than the Coppa Italia. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I'd like to see some rotation here. Like I wouldn't even mind giving a shot to Eriksen in that game. And a part of me is thinking, maybe even consider like resting Lukaku for that one. But I'll let you weigh in first, Nat. What sort of squad would you like to see Inter against Coppa?
Lukaku and Hakimi, they're both suspended for the first leg of
you know what? That's a good point. You have no choice. So they're going to.
They have no choice. Also,
no matter what.
Here's
part of the problem
tricky
of itself.
Exactly. So here's where the tricky situation comes in, and I see Uncle Sharma smiling over there. Brozovic is on a yellow too. He's one booking away from being suspended. I think Bastoni's one booking away from being suspended, if I'm not wrong. So honestly, it's going to be a very rotated lineup. I could honestly see maybe Gagliardini, Vidal, and Barella midfield, maybe, depending on how confident Conte is, because Conte is back on the touchline for the Coppa Italia matches. I wonder how. I think we will see Alexis start along with Lautaro up front. There's no way in hell that he's giving Pinamonti a start for the rest of the season. I feel bad for the guy, but that's another topic for another day.
He's not good enough.
But he's Nat's right though. I kind of feel bad for him because
he's a good player. He has quality.
Play somewhere.
Send him out then. What a waste of a spot.
His wages are too high.
Because
he's got Raiola, so they can't move him.
I'm pretty sure he's making 1.2 net a season. So nobody's going to take his wages at the age of 21. But the quality is there. The quality is there for Pinamonti. He showed it a bit at Genoa. He scores in the big matches. So I don't see why Conte doesn't play him maybe every couple of weeks. But that's a discussion for another time. The wing-back scenario, I could see Ashley Young starting again over Perisic. Perisic hasn't been himself this year due to the fact that he's playing in a position he's never played before. So it makes up 100%. I think we see Darmian starting. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kolarov start as well in place for Bastoni due to the fact that Bastoni is on a yellow. Obviously, I think we'd all love to see Bastoni start instead of Kolarov because Kolarov is a very big liability defensively and he doesn't really offer much. So we could see a lineup of that. Obviously, Handanovic is starting because Conte once again doesn't even give a chance that Radu to start.
I think you forgot that Radu is even on the team. Like because if he didn't get a chance in the Fiorentina game and the rest of the game, he's never going to get a chance.
He's not playing. So I think Conte's going to stick, obviously, to his bread and butter. It's 3-5-2. He's going to sit back. He's going to drop back. He's going to play on the counter. And hopefully Pirlo does the same inexperienced tactics as the high press, the high line, fall right into Conte's traps. Inter plays on the counter attack, and hopefully we get an Inter win or a favorable draw. I could see that happening, but I don't see anything crazy going on in this match from Conte's side at all. I think it's going to be a basic back and forth game like we saw in the first one. A lot of counter attack and a lot of setting back, a lot of defending, a lot of hold up play from the strikers as we usually do. Nothing crazy from Inter, and we'll see what happens.
So what do you think, Mario? I mean, knowing that Lukaku and Hakimi are not even options with the yellow card suspension against Juventus, how strong of a lineup will Conte put out there?
It's one leg this game, right?
Two.
Two leg. And also Brozovic is on a yellow too.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's on
I
one
don't
match away.
I don't think he would bench them because he'd rather keep them for the final, if that would make sense.
Thank you.
If they get the yellow in the first leg and you win the game, you're set up in a good spot for the second leg. You miss Brozovic, Hakimi, Lukaku, whoever gets the yellow, and then you have them for the final. So it would make sense to start them in the first game rather than the second game to lose them for the final, in my opinion, obviously. But I don't think Kolarov was that bad in the second half against Milan. He was actually decent. He kept it simple. I had no qualms. It was just the first half where he got beat by Zlatan, where that led to the goal, obviously, which was concerning. But he fits into that Conte system as a center back, attacking wise. Defensively, he's atrocious as a center back. It's like we can't fault that. But he does what Bastoni does on a lower level because he's able to hit those long range passes, switch the point of attack, and come at it with the more attacking presence than say Skriniar would or De Vrij or Ranocchia, all those. So I don't hate the idea of Kolarov in theory, and he has been somewhat effective a couple times in that role. But it just comes down to the defensive side, and he's gonna let up a goal. He always has. He always will. So I don't know about that, honestly, but I think that Conte will try to put out the strongest lineup possible, including Kolarov to rest Bastoni probably, or whatever he wants to do, Skriniar or whoever. I don't know. I feel like that game's going to go either way. It's been back and forth with Juve, obviously, and Pirlo he's not really done a great job with them. So I could see us stealing the first game, missing the second game with a couple players, but still moving on to the finals.
What do you think, Sharma? What kind of a lineup you want to see against Juve?
Yeah, I think, as you said, there's going to have to be some rotations. And at this point of the season, the schedule is so packed. We go Fiorentina straight afterwards. Then we've got the second leg, and then Lazio. It's just a crazy February coming up. So you have to rotate, and then
the derby. On the 21st.
The derby. So you're Inter. You've got a squad big enough. You have to have trust in these players that you have in the squad. You can't always keep playing the same guys. So yeah, as Mario said and Mo commented, Kolarov wasn't that bad. He's become obviously the scapegoat this season. Kolarov a little bit, but in the second half he was pretty decent against Milan. But yeah, you have to give him trust. If you can't keep playing Bastoni every single minute, because that gets even riskier. Because then you risk what happened to Bastoni against Sampdoria. He got skinned by Damsgaard. He was tired. He was playing every single game. So you have to give these guys a rest every once in a while. So yeah, hopefully get to see Sensi get more minutes. Hopefully,
please.
Yeah, he's got the mohawk coming in now.
The Vidal mohawk. I totally forgot he was on the bench.
I think Sensi thinks if he looks more like Vidal, Conte's going to play him, right?
Well, he has the tattoos to go with it. So
as long as he doesn't go the Nainggolan way, the other mohawk.
Yeah, exactly.
Does Ranocchia start again after his
No.
zero-shot performance?
No. No chance.
De Vrij will be back in.
It's
The
Vrij.
shame is that D'Ambrosio is not available because Skriniar hasn't got able to be rested, because D'Ambrosio would have been able to slide into that right centre back position. So Skriniar just has to play at the moment, poor guy. But yeah, Darmian, Ashley Young coming in, and Brozovic starting, and then I guess it'll be Vidal and Barella out there, and Sanchez and Lautaro up front.
So, Jerry, I want to give you the last word on this. If you have any thoughts on how Inter should approach Juve and Coppa Italia, and then, sir, it's going to be time to break down that Lazio masterclass. So, any thoughts to wrap it up on Inter before we move on?
Got this Parma game in the background. Sorry, guys.
Score now.
Me too.
1-0 Napoli, man. Parma's just dictating this whole game, eh? It gets really bad for Napoli. I don't care what the result is right now. The score is very deceiving. I'm going off topic here. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's fine. Yeah, because I mean, there's some people watching this live anyway, and so Napoli, an Elmas first half goal.
I couldn't form a sentence.
Moan you already, see? But I think that I've been listening to all you guys. Don't think I wasn't, but a lot of good points. Just take this into consideration. You guys have to play Fiorentina on Friday with 2 days rest. So that's the biggest thing. And Mario, not actually hit it perfectly. Like, there's a lot of players who are going to be missing from this lineup. Now, I've been ridiculed on Twitter saying that Inter has depth. You're wrong. They have players they can call off the bench. Okay, prove me wrong, because now is the time to see that depth be used and step in this week. You got a game against Fiorentina where they have no Castrovilli and no Nikola Milinkovic. So that is a big loss for Fiorentina. This is a side who is struggling at the moment for form. They look like a lost team who doesn't have confidence. I know that they were playing good down 1-man and 2-man against Torino, but still, this is an Inter side who has much more better quality than Fiorentina in all aspects. If I'm Inter, maybe you do go all out, like Mario said. And I agree with Mario's approach, where if there's the game you're going to go all out, it's the first game where you do risk the yellow card, and you don't want them to be missing the finals. Why would you want Hakimi missing the finals, for example? That's a guy who you really want to be there and be able to make a difference. Just an example, but I think on Friday you maybe start Brozovic in the lineup. I don't know. I know Brozovic, you said, is on a yellow. Maybe you start Eriksen against Fiorentina on Friday, since he came off a good game on Saturday. You maybe rest him for the week. You bring in Brozovic because he didn't play Saturday. He's well rested. He can go into Tuesday. I do agree with Bastoni. I would really manage Bastoni, because he looked a little injured during the game a few times, where he got a few nicks, and I felt that he was kind of limping, or just maybe it's fatigue. I don't know what it is. I would really manage him properly, and Nicola Barella as well. That's another guy who I wouldn't start Tuesday. And if he's not on a yellow card, don't risk him, man. Honestly, he's been playing so much. That is one player who needs a game off, and I think Tuesday is the perfect time to give it especially Barella. If you want to give one player for sure a day off, it's him and probably Bastoni, because they have been the most dependent players on this team and just overused. And I've seen it with Lazio, where you overuse Ciro Immobile, you overuse Luis Alberto, and guess what happens? They go missing for 10 games? The goal is the Scudetto, but we know how Conte is. The goal is everything.
Yep.
To him, it's not. There's no one priority, so he's going to go all in on this game on Tuesday. So his goal is to win something, and he has a good chance with Coppa Italia. Now the question is, what does Juventus do? Do they go all in as well, or do they not go all in? Because they have a game as well this weekend against Roma on Saturday, and that's a big game. So they're in I think, if anything, Juventus is in a bigger, tough decision here than Inter, because they come off against Fiorentina, whereas Juventus come off against Roma. So it's a tough decision for both sides.
Well,
but if I'm Inter, you play it safe, man, and maybe you do go all in and you look at Fiorentina, you say, hey, we bought A, B, C, D. This is when we need those guys to step up against a lower tier kind of team. I don't know.
Well, I think Juventus is going to be fine depth wise. They have Demiral and De Ligt on the bench there. I think they will make a return to the starting lineup in Coppa Italia. I think, as well as I think Ronaldo will play, Morata will play, the wing backs. I think Eduardo will play. I think Ramsey and Rabiot will play for Juventus. So it'll be very interesting to see what both coaches do tactically and resource wise, and we'll see. It'll be a good match. Those matches are never boring snooze fests.
You're right, but here's a question now. If you're Juventus, do you really want to risk that? Because you got another game after the week after in Coppa Italia, and then you got Champions League versus Porto. So you really want to be careful how you use Ronaldo and all these guys.
Yeah, I think
you should for the long term too, right? So I think Inter's in a better situation than Juve is personally, and like I say this, and I don't like losing, but in Lazio's situation, maybe not being in Coppa Italia was the best decision for them. I think deep down inside, the way Inzaghi was talking was, okay, yeah, we're out, but in his mind, he's like, I have a lot of injuries here, and I got 2 weeks to now prepare, rest my players during the week, and not have to overexert them. Whereas Juventus now is in that situation, along with Atalanta and Napoli. How do they manage with so many games coming up for them? Whereas Inter is not in a bad situation because they don't have Europa League to worry about or Champions League. So I think the decision-making is a little easier for Inter than it is for Juventus. But you're right, though. Knowing Juventus and knowing these teams, how stupid they are, they go all in with their best players, and they forget that I wanted ABC in the summer. I signed Eriksen. Eriksen's the guy I wanted, and I wanted that guy. But then you're like, well, why aren't you using them? Like, you wanted players from the transfer market. You got players. Inzaghi's the same way. Don't worry. I know 100%. And I say Lazio because I don't want to be biased and think that, it only happens to Inter. No, it's not just Conte. Conte is just because people like to pick on Conte. That's the problem. But Pirlo is the same way.
Milioni net. That's why they like to pick on Conte. 12 milioni. How much is he making?
Yeah, exactly.
On him for that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the problem. But
second highest paid coach in the world.
Yeah. Was it Conte's freaking issue that was it his fault that he got 13 million, 14 million, whatever the heck he got, man? That's not his.
Well, I think in the negotiations he strived to get 12 million. I don't think he
good for him.
He wants the 6 or 5 million, but well, if you're
whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
But if you're
my money,
the way I look at it, if you're Antonio Conte and you're getting paid 12 million net a year and you can't make it out of a Champions League group stage with Gladbach and Shakhtar, I don't think you deserve the 12 million.
But that's not fair though. That's not fair because that's not. Yeah, okay, you want the results, but just because you're getting 12 million doesn't mean that it's going to provide better results. You know what I mean? You're still, if you pay him 2 million or you're paying 12 million, you're paying 5 million, you're still going to get the same manager who's going to do the same decisions, the same thing over and over. So at the end of the day, I think the dollar sign people overlook that and say, hey, he makes 12 million. He should have done this, and that. Well, guess what? He puts the lineup out. Yeah, you can ridicule his substitutions. You can maybe ridicule what player he puts on the pitch. But when those 11 guys are on the pitch and they're not doing their fucking job, they're the guys who got to be blamed. That's it, man. They're the guys who have to produce. They're the guys who are getting paid to play. And if they're not even if they lost, okay? Even if they lost, they still have to give that effort, that whole grinta, that whole picture you want. That's all I'm saying, man. The only decision I think that Conte has done wrong is the handling of Eriksen. That's the only thing I'll agree with that he's done poor. But other than that, I think he's done a fabulous job with Inter. He's given them an identity, a project, a clear vision to try to win something. Like before Conte came, what were they? Yeah, okay, you had Gasparini, but other than that, not Gasparini, you had Spalletti. But other than Spalletti, this is a team that lacked an identity for a decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like even if you fire Conte because he's being paid $12 million and you hire someone else, you're paying 17 million.
And you're still paying Spalletti.
That's another problem.
You're still paying Spalletti. You're still paying Conte. And you're still paying the new guy another 3-4 million, whatever the case is. So you're paying more in the end with Conte's project than you already are. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, in the anti-Antonio Conte cult here, in my defense, I think that when you get paid 12 million as a coach, you have to be able to tactically adapt to your team and also tactically adapt to certain situations. In the Shakhtar game, for example, when they park the bus, or the Udinese game, when you play against these teams that park the bus, he doesn't adapt to the game. He doesn't read the game well. That's always been one of his biggest faults. For example, at Chelsea, in his second season, the fans ended up not liking him because he did not adapt to certain situations of games, and he's obsessed with his 3-5-2, which makes sense. His variations of 3 at the back, because he's won with his variations.
What happened? Well, hold on. I know you guys are. I know you guys are watching the game. It's still 1-0.
I thought it was on mute. Sorry.
But I heard you react. But hold on. I want to shift gears because I want to give Jerry a chance to flex a little bit, guys. And I got to tell you, when I was looking through the Serie A betting lines last night, I'm really glad I decided to jump on Lazio plus half a goal at plus 104, which meant I would have won the bet even if they had just drawn the game. They didn't even need to win. And what I ended up seeing was a really impressive performance, 3-1 Lazio over Atalanta. Now, I know for Atalanta, people say, hey, Gosens and Hateboer were both out. That was a big loss, and it is a loss. But Lazio still, I thought, had a tremendous performance. I mean, Jerry, it was really important to get a very early opening goal. Maricic only needed 3 minutes to get Lazio on the board. Correa scored a nice one. Your guy Murici can't stop scoring all of a sudden. And, Lazio did a fantastic job absorbing some pressure, packing the box when they were on defense, limiting Atalanta's scoring chances. And then on the break, very lethal and very decisive. And I know, Jerry, that if I would have asked you before last week, if you had to just win one game or the other against Atalanta, the Coppa Italia game or the Serie A game, I think Lazio chose the right game to win the Serie A matchup after falling 3-2 midweek to Atalanta. So how you feeling today about your team's performance?
Much better. And I didn't even know that Hateboer and I think Hateboer and Froller and Gosens were out. I didn't even notice that, guys. I didn't know. I didn't check their lineup. I don't know why they were up. I just know that Romero was out because he had COVID. And what a most improved player probably in Serie A after last year, where he had the most yellow cards. And this year he's really trimmed that down, and he was really missing in that back line for Atalanta. But you know what? Lazio could have won midweek, should have won. They just didn't have that performance. I don't know where it was lacking. But today they woke up, and I guess maybe they just prioritized Serie A instead of Coppa Italia. But this was the most pivotal win. Now they're in 5th place, but they'll most likely go up to 6th because Napoli is about to probably win right now. But you know what? This is a team that was lacking form. People had them counted out not to finish in the top 4 spot right before when they lost at the San Siro versus Milan. And now all of a sudden you got them on a 7-game unbeaten streak, playing in great form. And Inzaghi deserves a lot of credit because he's been able to get the most out of his side. And the one thing that I get very frustrated with is that Lazio lacks depth. And I don't think they lack depth personally. We just haven't seen the depth play enough. And this is another team where Andreas Pereira played around 500 minutes prior to this game in all competition. Vedat Murici, I'm one to be accountable for. I didn't like his performance against Milan. But again, he's starting to show his form, what he can provide to this team. He had 2 injuries. He had COVID-19. He arrived late for the transfer market. Not enough time to adapt to his new team. I think those are a lot of factors people kind of forget. And for any player, when you arrive to a team, you need time to adapt to new tactics, understanding a new league. And My guy, Maricic, this is a guy who never played on the right side. Sorry, on the left side, my apologies. Never a left wing back. And now he's created himself into an inverted wing back and is probably the future of Lazio's left wing back position, where Sena Lulic is on the decline and he's aging. He's 36. So for so many years, we've been looking to buy a player, and we've bought so many players. And the guy who could have played this position was hiding in the roster the whole time. And good for him. He scores a beautiful goal just from outside the box. He continues to produce. And I think the biggest thing that has helped him this year is not being injured. He's been able to stay healthy. In the last 2 years, injuries have really slowed down Maricic. When he came over, I believe from, I think it's the Belgium League. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't remember, but he had a lot of potential, and it's good to see that they're doing what they have to. Yes, I agree. It's because a lot of it has to do with Inzaghi, and a lot of people probably disagree with me, but today with the tactics, he did a three-man substitution. He took out Immobile, he took out Correa, and he took out Lucas Leiva, brought in Escalante, Pereira, and Marici. And I thought the one player who made a big difference was Andres Pereira. His speed really made a big difference. He was attacking the final third, creating chances. I think he came close to setting up a second or third goal as well when he came on. And that goal Marici doesn't score if it's not for the individual play of Pereira and how he attacks that space and forces Gosens. He sees Golini, make the attempt for the ball, and he sees that he has a chance to win it, and he attempts and he makes it right, and he chips the ball over him. And good run by Marici just to read the play. So this is a team that's just believing in themselves and just fighting for each other. And they play Inter in 2 weeks, and I think that they're playing Inter at the right time. With the momentum they're playing, the confidence they're showing, and they get Inter on a fourth game back to back in 2 weeks. So I want to see how they approach that game, because they'll be playing midweek this week. Next weekend they play midweek again, and then they play Lazio on the back of a four games in 2 weeks. So that's going to be interesting to see how they respond, where Lazio should really take advantage of a team that's going to be playing midweek in Coppa Italia. And I'm hoping that second leg goes into extra time. Any Lazio fan should be rooting for 120 minutes for Inter versus Juventus in the second leg. That's just me. But you know what? And then Sharma loves this guy, Cherby. Cherby was a rock in the back end.
What a player.
What a defensive performance. He really shut down Zapata. Like he did get beat sometimes, but overall he really limited his space, his ability to get into the box, create chances. And I thought this was a great defensive performance from Lazio, where they didn't play to Atalanta's strengths on the counterattack, and they didn't give him any space in the box to create any chances, to find that lane. I think Muriel had an odd opportunity where he was able to get in between the defense, but other than that, Atalanta didn't really attack Lazio, and Peperena really didn't have to make any key saves throughout the whole match. So an overall great performance, and Inzaghi gets criticized sometimes for his tactics, but today he deserves credit.
And Jerry, answer Mo's question there. What do you think of the percentage for Lazio getting top four? And I want to say, and answer that in a second, Jerry, and then I want to go around the table. I know there's still a lot of games left to be played. Most teams are 20 rounds in, but I'm loving the Serie A this year when you have a legit Scudetto race between at least three teams. I mean, Milan, Inter, and Juventus definitely in it. And you have the difference between fourth place and seventh place is 1 point, as Napoli are about, actually, 1 point between fourth and seventh, with Napoli about to pick up 3 points here. So this is, more than halfway through the year, one of the most competitive Serie A's I've witnessed in a long time. So Jerry, how do you feel about Lazio's percentage chance of getting top four?
Oh, greatly. I would say at least 60-70%. And I say this, when we look back at why Lazio is able to compete in the next period of 3 months, it's because Inzaghi rotated his squad against Parma and against Atalanta midweek in the Coppa Italia. He didn't go to Immobile starting. He didn't go to Correa starting. He left all his key starters off the bench. And he understood finally that don't overuse your key players because you still have Champions League around the corner and you still have the league to go with. And you were starting to see squad rotation. That's the most important thing. And in the last 2 weeks, he managed Ciro Immobile, who is not 100% fit. He managed Joaquin Correa, didn't overuse him right away. Luis Alberto today, he only used him for 60 minutes because he's not 100%.
Well, what a piece of skill. There was that one, what was it, early in the second half when he had just one of the filthiest pieces of skill I've seen in a long time.
What beautiful goal he scored. Unbelievable. But how about the pass from Immobile too? And Immobile made another pass in the first half to Sergei Milinkovic-Savic where he got the header and hit the post. And I always think that Immobile has two gifts. He's a really good passer. And I think that a lot of his chances are in the final third in the box where he has this chip pass he can make. And it's like normally spot on. And you know what? He didn't score today, but like Sharma said, Immobile was effective in other areas, even though he didn't score today. He worked really hard, creating chances. But I give Lazio at least a 70% chance. I don't see why they don't have the depth. We're starting to see Pereira step up. And I think the signing of Musacchio was a good signing. Yeah, his time with Milan probably was a mix of results. But you're also getting a guy who's coming off an injury, needs time, maybe a new place to gain his confidence back, new scenery.
Milan
new
was in
team.
shambles at the time.
Sorry?
Milan was in shambles at the time.
There you go. See? Like, I didn't think he was bad today. Yeah, he took the yellow with the elbow, fine, but I think he provides something. He's a step above Patrick. And he gives you like depth and some reassurance in that back line, which is great for Lazio fans. And I think the best part of how this deal went down was how quick it was. That Lazio didn't hesitate right away to get a center back. They were pretty quick. They had their options. They went after Musacchio, and that's it. And I think Musacchio did the right thing to terminate his contract early. Just sign a new contract with Lazio, go to a new place. I guess I also think that having a guy like Peperena, who he was able to play with him with Milan, kind of was a reassurance, having someone who knows him and probably spoke to him and gave him some confidence in joining. But you know what? I like this signing. It's very little risk, high reward. He's on a 6-month loan with no obligation to buy. It's just an option. So if he does well, I don't see why they wouldn't pick it up maybe.
He was also a very good center back at Villarreal before he went to Milan. On top of that, and the whole world literally wanted him, and he chose Milan.
Milan, they ruin everybody.
I wanted to get Sharma in on this next because I did point out that obviously huge win for Lazio today. It's a statement victory over Atalanta. But it is an incredibly tight race for the final couple of Champions League spots with 1 point separating 4th place from 7th place right now. And Mo picked up on something, Sharma, the expression you made when Jerry said 70% Lazio Champions League. What do you think about that? How do you feel about those that final Champions League spot?
It's so tight, man. It's crazy. This is the best Serie A season I've watched in my short, Serie A life, watching Serie A. So it's so hard to call. AC Milan definitely now they're going to make it to the top 4 if they continue like this. So 3 spots are definitely taken, as you said. So I still think Atalanta will make it. I still feel like they're quite a streaky team, and they finish the season strongly, usually like they did last year. So I feel like at some point they'll get everyone playing together because they have so many new players as well. They always sign new players. They signed another Ukrainian guy yesterday. I saw Kovalenko from Shakhtar, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, I don't know, the way Atalanta played, the amount of goals they'll score, I think they'll sneak through. And I put Napoli ahead of Lazio as well to make it to the top 4. I think Roma will slip off. They've got too many uncertainties and issues off the field. I don't know if they'll be able to keep up the pace. Napoli, once Osimhen comes back, I think they'll start to solidify once again. So I think it's between Atalanta and Napoli for that final spot for me.
Yeah, I like that. And I think and no disrespect to Jerry, because I am rooting for Lazio to get the fourth spot. I despise them much less than most of the other teams that are in play for that. I kind of feel like in some order for me, it's going to be Juventus, Inter, and Milan in the top three spots, no question. And yeah, I probably also lean to Atalanta holding on for fourth place, and then maybe Lazio and Napoli right nipping at their heels. And yeah, I think Roma is probably going to fall out of the top six before this is all said and done. Let me get Mario in on this one. Mario, as we've mentioned, tightest race in Serie A for top four and even top six that we've seen in a really, really long time. We have a Scudetto race between three teams through 20 rounds that hardly ever happened in this league. We have a tight race for Champions League spots. How could you see it playing out, and how much of a chance do you give Lot? Now, if I'm going to put a percentage on it, Jerry went 70%. I'd probably go more like 35% for Lazio. How do you see it, Mario?
Yeah, I'm down there like 30%. Because there's too many quality teams in Serie A right now. Like, it's been last year was the first year that we actually saw real competition for first place. Aside from the Napoli with Higuain, really, when they lost by a point also. But other than that, it's just been Juve's show. It's going to be Juve, Milan, Inter top three, without a doubt in my mind. The fourth spot, I think, goes to Napoli. I feel like they struggled out of the gates, and they were screwed by that Juve result, which I think they're going to pick up a point at least when they play to make up that game. So I think Napoli falls into that fourth spot. They've been tremendous defensively. Offensively, they're finally starting to get going, even with that bum Petagna playing. Once Osimhen comes back, I don't know if he's going to make them that much better. I'm really not sold on the guy because we really haven't seen much of him, and I don't see him as a goal scorer that they need.
He's better than Petagna. Come on.
What?
Better than Petagna.
Oh yeah. Everyone's better than Petagna. We can put Jerry up there to do a better job than Petagna. So,
I don't know who loves Nutella more, Petagna or Jerry.
Oh man. So I think Napoli takes that fourth spot. I'm very high on them. I think Gattuso, he's not warranting this hate that he has around them. People forget there's still a game in hand, and they're 1 point out of fourth place. Actually, no, they don't have that game in hand anymore. I'm sorry. They're in 20 matches. But regardless, I still think they're going to get that fourth spot.
Napoli still has that game in hand. They got to play Juventus.
Yeah, they do. They still haven't played Juventus yet.
But if you look at the table right now, they're even on 20 points. Roma has the game in hand at the moment. But regardless, they do have that game in hand. So I don't know. I'm watching this game now, and sure, they're beating up on Parma. They looked kind of shaky for like about 25-30 minutes, but I still think that defensively they're not going to let up a tremendous amount of goals, which is really, really beneficial in this league. And also I want to bring up the relegation battle. 5 points from the bottom to 15th place. So, that's something to also keep an eye on.
Well, Parma was dealt a blow today. I mean, getting a point against Napoli would have been huge because they're in that drop zone right now. Crotone in last, Cagliari 18th with 15 points. You have to watch out for Torino as well on 15 points. Spezia has been kind of the hipster team, but they're not out of danger as well with their 18 points. So you're right, man. This is not only a great race, Scudetto, Champions League, Europa League, but relegation as well. I want to give Nat the final word on this, my friend. What do you think about fourth place? As we can kind of agree that it's looking like in some order, Juventus, Inter, and Milan top three. What do you think about fourth place?
Fourth place, that's actually a very good question. I would have to give it to Atalanta, just for the way they play football. They're the only basically side in Italy that plays, for the most part, attacking football the whole match, no matter if they're down 5-0 or if they're up 6-0. They keep pressing. So I think the way they play tactically the way they play football is incredible. So I think that gives them the upper advantage. Lazio, they have Bayern Munich coming up right in the UCL draw. And that's going to be a tough one. So I think Inzaghi is going to have to make a choice there on if he wants to put his guns in against Bayern Munich or sort of focus on Serie A there. That will be a fascinating situation to look at. I think Lazio will get 5th. I think Napoli will get 6th. Right now, Napoli's in a bit of a rough patch. There's been some rumors about Gattuso getting sacked, which De Laurentiis said not, but you never know. You never know in Italy with the media and everything. And Roma are having a worse. Roma are starting to turn into the new Inter. Pazza Roma. This has been right now. What's been going on in January for Roma has been just mind blowing with Fonseca and Dzeko and the new ownership and just the players not backing Fonseca and Fonseca having many arguments with Pedro and Mkhitaryan and Dzeko and all the situations. So it's very crazy to see how the Serie A season is turning out. It's been a very competitive season. That whole top 7, you see little subplots going on, battles for UCL, battles for Europa League, relegation battle. I think Parma, even though they got dealt a blow today, they signed I don't know how to pronounce his name, Joshua Zirkzee from Bayern Munich there. Zirkzee from Bayern Munich, who's a huge talent. So hopefully he provides some light there and a hope for Parma. But besides that, I think I'd give Lazio 25-30% to qualify for a top 4.
This is an interesting question that Mo asked. He left Jerry out of this, I'm sure, because Jerry, of course, wants Lazio. Who do we think is better for Serie A to get that final top 4 spot? Honestly, I don't have a huge clear favorite here. Like I'm sure that because we've had this conversation in years past, like, which club do you think would be in the best position to, actually invest in players if they made top 4 and kind of, showcase themselves well to the world? I guess if you go by that argument, maybe Napoli, because they're still in good financial shape despite the pandemic. Because De Laurentiis is he's a gangster when it comes to investing properly and not blowing money. So I guess by that metric, maybe Napoli, but I don't think it's a huge difference because I think even Lotito has been opening up the pockets a little bit, and I think for Lazio, if they can get into Champions League for a second straight year, then I think that's only going to increase despite the tight pockets that Lotito has. I mean, you think about, I know that like a team like Roma is a pretty big global brand.
Yeah, I was going to say the brand of Roma.
Yeah, it's hard for me to see them actually pulling it off and making it. And then, Atalanta have obviously become the Oakland A's. They become the Moneyball team in Serie A that they do the most with the least. But I don't have a huge preference here because I think the most important thing, honestly, I think for the league is that both teams in Milano are good at the same time. I think that's the big thing that Serie A has been missing, right? Because for so many years over the last decade plus, when one Milano team has been up, the other's been way down in a banter era and kind of flip-flopping back and forth. I think that's the most important thing. But do you guys have any quick parting thoughts on that? Sharma, is there a certain club that if they get 4th place that it would benefit the league the most?
No, I don't really have any preference. Like last year, I thought when Lazio make it, because last time Lazio got to the qualifier stage, they got kicked out by Leverkusen in the qualifier stage, or like in the qualifiers when Italy was still struggling to get that 4th spot. I think it was the 3rd spot plus you have to qualify. But Lazio did so well this year in the Champions League, so I don't have any preference. It's good to spread it around, spread that Champions League money around.
I would love to see.
Nat, go ahead. You can go first.
Go ahead.
I'd love to see Roma or Napoli because of the brand. Obviously, we were talking about before. And they can attract big players just because of the name and the history that these two teams have in Europe. So obviously it'd be Roma or Napoli, but I also love everyone in Europe loves the story of Atalanta, Moneyball FC, for example, and the way they play. It's very attracting football, and the more attracting football you play, the more neutrals you'll attract to the club. So I think Atalanta, they have it mapped out perfectly, the way they sell their academy and everything, and they're just going to keep raking in the cash. So it's between those three. I'm not really sold on Lazio yet. Sorry, Jerry.
No, no worries, man. Fuck Gasperini. That guy's a piece of shit, man. He said some comments today about Lazio. I tweeted it out, man. That guy's
Really? What did he say? I didn't see that.
Oh, he said some stupid shit.
Really?
Shit. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
They usually because they asked him about everything was a bit nervous at the end. There was a few scuffles after the final whistle, and he said, "Yeah, they usually lose against us, and they usually finish below us in the table, so it's understandable."
Wow.
Piece of shit, man. You lose the game. You won midweek.
I respect the shit talk, though.
Who, Gasperini?
I respect that shit talk.
No, fuck that, man. You're a loser, man. Go.
Just on the loser end of it.
That guy's a fucking dirtbag. That guy's a dirtbag, man. You know why? You know why I don't like it? Because when he wins, he's dancing in front of Milan. I don't like it. I don't care it's your rival. I don't care that Milan's your rival. Even if it was Roma, I don't like it. You don't dance in front of a team, man. I'm sorry. That's just like what are you, 5 years old, man? You celebrate the way Lazio celebrated when they beat Roma. They stood as a line behind Inzaghi, and that's how you celebrate. You celebrate as a team. You don't go disrespect the team and start dancing like a chooch. Like it's not like you won. He's dancing as if he won the Champions League or something. Like get the fuck out of here.
Team mentality. What do you expect,
bro? The guy hasn't won nothing with Atalanta. Yeah, okay. He's provided a beautiful brand of football for Atalanta. What have they achieved though? Have they won anything in his time?
Maybe Milan.
Oh fuck, that's true. But
maybe Lazio.
But
these are accomplishments.
Here, I want to talk about. Well, hold on. You guys.
He almost beat PSG last year.
Yeah. He almost did.
Could have, would have, should have.
For 90 minutes.
Almost is not good enough, man. You got to.
They would have won.
And don't worry, he can laugh all he wants. Hold on, he can laugh all he wants about Lazio not winning in the last 8 meetings, but the most important meeting was one when it was a Coppa Italia final. So at the end of the day, Inzaghi won when he had to win. That's the difference here. You can win every game you want, but if you can't win where it counts the most, you're useless to me. So that's all I can. That's all I can say about Inzaghi. Has the upper hand. In the back of his head, he's like, "Oh, I have this shiny Coppa Italia home. What do you have, you bag of shit?" But
90 minutes against PSG. That's what he has.
But yeah, so we have 90 minutes against Bayern Munich coming up. Don't worry. Anyways,
that'll be fun.
It will be fun, actually. Never mind. But I want to touch. Hold on. You guys said Napoli fourth. The thing that scares me about Napoli, I just want to get this off my chest, is that if Gattuso doesn't learn how to rotate his squad, they're not going to finish in a top 6 spot. He's killing players, man. Dries Mertens has to go back now to Belgium. I'm not sure if you saw Sharma. He's got an injury. He's hurt again.
Yep.
And I'm telling you guys, the thing that's scary about Napoli, and I think Gattuso is a good coach. I think that he's learning the tactics. He's understanding how to become a better manager. All that. The players love him. I agree with you. There's no hostility in the change room. That's not the issue. The issue is that this guy needs to learn how to rest in. Look, he used Insigne again today. He used Insigne on Thursday. He's going to use Insigne again on Wednesday against Atalanta. Like, Lozano has played like 11 games in a row. Koulibaly plays every game. Manolis plays every game. That guy's probably hurt because I think he was hurt on Thursday and he was limping. But these guys are playing through injuries. Osimhen, he's gonna kill Osimhen because he doesn't know how to manage him right and how to bring him slowly into the lineup. And that's what scares me about Napoli. I've said this to Joe on Forza Napoli podcast, is that I think if you have the depth, okay, hold on. Napoli is quoted, they bought all these players, they got good depth, and they got the players to come off the bench. So why aren't they using them properly? Why aren't they calling the players off the bench if they have depth? I hate when people say we have depth and you're using the same 11 game in and game out.
They have the wrong kind of depth, in my opinion, because look at who they bought. They bought Petagna, they bought Osimhen, and who else the fuck? They brought Politano, they brought
perfect. Politano. Why is he sub? Why doesn't he rotate with Lozano? Why?
I agree. No, but to my point, they need outside backs. That's been their biggest liability for the past 2 years. Lisa sucks. That other guy, Gulam, got injured too many times. Di Lorenzo sucks. They need wing backs, and they haven't invested in wing backs.
I think Di Lorenzo's been really good for Napoli. I think Di Lorenzo's great, man. What about you think, Sharma? I think Di Lorenzo's a good player, man.
He could actually.
Yeah, he's probably like a right back of the
He's
year.
overplayed, man. The guy hasn't had a game off yet.
He was fighting for a starting spot for the national team with Florenzi. He's been solid. He's one of those low key players that you don't. He's like an unsung hero. He's not gonna steal the show, but he won't make any mistakes. He's not a liability defensively.
Napoli fans hate him.
And he's pretty good going offensively, in my opinion. I don't watch Napoli all the time.
Bring him to
I
I'll take him at Lazio. I'll take him at Lazio. I like him.
I watch a lot of Napoli, and today he was all right, but
I like him.
He's just not it for them. If you want to play at that next level, he's going to kill you.
And the last thing is Atalanta. They showed today that they don't have depth. If everyone says they have a quality bench and they have the players who they can call off the bench, they were missing 2 key players today.
Really 3, I think. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you're missing. Okay, so they're missing 2 players, but if they're so good and they can compete every game, I think that this team has a good starting 11. After that, that's where they tail down. And that's just
Gasperini sent a lot of players back, which he didn't like on loan. He sent Di Paoli to Benevento. He sent Piccini back to La Liga. Mojica, I don't know whatever happened to Mojica, the wingback from La Liga. I haven't heard of him in a while. So yeah, you're right. But he's sending all the players he doesn't like back for various reasons. So
I like to hear what Sharma. I like Sharma's the stat guy, so I just want to hear him because like.
I haven't got stats on Atalanta. Only on
I wanted to wrap it up on that note anyway, because I gotta go and hit up my Manscaped products and keep the peninsula south of the equator nicely trimmed. So a huge thanks again to Manscaped for hopping aboard, the newest sponsor here of the Calcio Connection podcast. And I'm going to put the banner up there for those watching on YouTube, and I'll read it out for those who are not. If you go to manscaped.com and acquire your kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which it's more revolutionary than some of the equipment we have in space. Like the space shuttles that NASA sends into orbit have nothing on this technology. Go to manscaped.com. You can get 20% off of your order and free shipping by entering our code at checkout. 20% off and free shipping with our code CALCIO. CALCIO. Enter that code and we have your hookup. 20% off and free shipping. Huge thanks to everyone who joined us. Natale Frangione, Mario Gagliano at Mario Sweatshirt, Uncle Sharma. Now, Mario's got his Twitter account on there. Let me ask Sharma, you first. Where can people find you on social media? And, of course, your great YouTube channel.
At R Sharms with 2 Zs. And, just type in Uncle Sharma on YouTube. Hopefully I pop up, not other Indian uncles.
And of course, Mario at Mario Sweatshirt at Interworldwide. Anything else you have going on, Mario, you want to promote?
That's really it. I'm just doing some podcasting with Interworldwide every now and then. Me and Christian and Anthony chopping it up. Definitely a fun time if you want to come check that out. I've been having this problem. I got this razor, right? And it keeps cutting my balls. I'm
telling you, bro, 20% off.
20% off. Fucking good right now.
Manscaped FC.
Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0. I'm about to hop on that.
Well, what about you, Nat? Anything you want to promote, and where can people find you?
Nothing to promote. I'm not a writer. I'm just a general fan of the game, and my Twitter just for I don't have nothing to promote at all, actually. So
we'll still follow him at Frangione Natale.
Give it to me so I can follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Jerry? Of course, at J Mancini 8, you pump out like 100 articles a day, even though you always tell me I'm cutting down, I write too much, I don't have enough free time. He'll tell me that every week, and then within 3 minutes of him telling me I'm cutting down on the writing, I get like 7 links in my inbox of stories that he's written. It's wild. So what do you have? What do you have coming out this week?
I don't know. I got like 10 articles. I write like 10 or 15 articles and I let them rot in my hard drive just for fun. I write, but I'll be writing up on the Lazio game. That's what I'll be doing today. So.
Love it. So at jmancini8 on Twitter, and you guys can follow me at Alex Donno. Donno spelled Donno. I gave up writing because I'm too lazy because I'm doing audio and video pretty much all day. Weekdays onsideradio.com from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, and then of course the Calcio Connection stuff as well. So huge thanks to everyone: Sharma, Jerry, Nat, Mario. We will talk to you guys next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Bye-bye.